Hi everybody, welcome back. So the last couple of videos we've been talking about how to factor ax squared plus bx plus c where a is equal to 1. And I went over in quite a bit of detail what the procedure is for factoring trinomials of this sort. So today we're going to do a bunch of examples, and I'm not going to spend too much time going over the procedure. So to find those, go back to a previous video and you can see how it's done there, and today I'll just do some examples. And then in the next video, I'm going to take it a step further with some common factors and things like that that you need to watch out for. So let's just do some examples and see how it goes. So the first one we'll do is x squared minus 13x plus 42. Now, in all of high school math, you're going to do a much better job and going to have a much easier time of it if you have a really good sense of your times table. I know a lot of places they don't really teach the times table anymore, but it's a really good thing to grasp and to have mostly memorized. So try to work on that if you don't have a good grasp of your times table. So right up to 12 times 12 are good numbers to know off by heart. So here, we take the 42 and we say, well, what numbers will add or subtract to make 13? We need two numbers that multiply to make 42 and add to make 13. So as I've explained previously, we can go through the numbers in order if we don't think of them right away, or we can jump to the numbers that we know will work, okay? Now, those two numbers will add to make 13 if they're both negative, to make negative 13. When I multiply the two negatives together, I get a positive, which is what I have here, and therefore those are the correct numbers to factor this trinomial with. So what we get is x minus 6, x minus 7. And as I've also explained previously, you can always check your work. Go back and see whether or not when you multiply this out, is it going to give you the same result as what you started with. Remember, factoring is division, okay? So the act of factoring is actually dividing. So this is a product right here. And when you factor it, you're dividing it into its component binomial parts, which are taken separately, what we call prime. So these factors that we see here do not have any other common factors in them, okay? There's no way to factor them any further than this far. So if I now take this and multiply it out, and I won't do this with all of them, I just want to do it with a couple of them so that you see how it works going backwards. Okay, so x times x is x squared, x times negative 7, negative 7x, negative 6 times x, negative 6x, and then negative 6 times negative 7, positive 42. And then what we do is we just bring these middle terms together because they are like terms, and we get what we started with. Okay, so that's the first example. Now we will go on and, now we'll go on and do the next one. So in the next example, we're going to take x squared minus x minus 20. A lot of people have trouble when the middle number is 1. Because when we write down the 20, we say, okay, I need two numbers that multiply to make 20 and that add to make 1. And somehow people always seem to think that 1 and 20, or the number itself in 1, is somehow going to get them there. This 1 confuses the issue, and they think that this one is somehow related to this one. It's not, or at least it isn't usually. So these numbers, when added or subtracted, make plus or minus 19 or plus or minus 21. And remember, we are after negative 1, okay? And again, I don't write this negative in front of this number. I'll deal with the signs afterwards, okay? So it's not 2 and 12 either, is it? 3 doesn't go into 20, so we don't list it. And then we have 4 and 5. Well, 4 and 5 will add to make 1. So how do we do that? Well, this is going to be a minus and that's going to be a plus. That's the only way that we're going to get negative 1. So then if we multiply these signs, do we get this sign? The answer is yes. And therefore, those are the correct two numbers and their signs to factor out that trinomial. All right? I'll put the next one underneath. We have x squared minus 4x minus 21. All right, so 21 doesn't have a lot of factors. You know, it's not 1 and 21. We know that because that makes plus or minus 22, plus or minus 20. 3 and 7, okay, that could work, right? So 3 and 7 again, and I won't be doing this a lot more, but just so you remember how we're doing this, makes plus or minus 4 or plus or minus 10. Now, we're after negative 4. So what signs do these two numbers have to have on them in order to get negative 4? Well, this has to be a minus and that has to be a plus. Now multiply the signs, and are you getting this sign? The answer is yes. So you know they're the right numbers, so you just write out your factors. And that one's done. Okay, now, got a few more to do before we move on to a different topic in the next video. So x squared plus 11x plus 30. Okay, the numbers might come to you instantly. You might go, oh yeah, 5 and 6. Perfect. If that happens, that's fine. Go ahead and write the numbers down. Eventually, you won't even be writing anything down. You'll just go straight to your two factors as long as a is 1. You can do that, okay? So for 5 and 6, we need a plus on both numbers in order to give us positive 11. And then when we multiply those two signs, do we get this sign? Yeah, we do. Of course we do. And so we just write out our factors and we're done. Okay? And we have, excuse me, x squared minus x minus 30. And this is another one with 1 in the middle. So if we go 30, we're going to pull out a 5 and a 6, because 5 times 6 is 30. And this one needs to be a negative, and that one needs to be a positive in order to get that negative one that's in the middle. When I multiply that positive by that negative, am I getting this sign? Yes, I am. And so we know that those are then the correct numbers and the correct signs with which to factor that. Now let's multiply this one out just to see that again. So x times x, x squared, x times negative 6, negative 6x, 5 times x, positive 5x, and positive 5 times negative 6, negative 30, giving us that. Now notice too, most of you will know this if you're doing high school math or something beyond that, but notice I don't write this. Okay? It isn't wrong to write that, but typically if the coefficient on the variable is either plus or minus 1, we don't write the plus or minus 1. We don't put the number, okay? It's not done. Okay, a couple more, and we've got 2 more in this video. So, here's another one. X squared plus 12x plus 20. Well, after the last couple, this one's pretty easy, because for 20 we can use 10 and 2, can't we? Okay? If they're both positive, when adding them, I will get plus 12. When I multiply these two signs, I'm going to get 20. So, yay, that's going to work. So we just write out our two factors, like so. Okay? And then the last one we're going to do is this one here. X squared minus 3x minus 4. And we've got 4. Again, notice I'm not writing the negative. I'll deal with the signs afterwards. Okay? 4 has only 2 sets of factors, 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. And when I use 1 and 4, I see that I need a minus there and a plus here in order to get negative 3. When I multiply those two signs out, I'm getting this sign. That's great. So what I do is I just write out my two factors. And I'm done. Okay, so that's it for this video. Tune in to the next one for what we're going to do in the next video is we're going to introduce some leading negatives and some terms or some factors that are common to all the terms. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and also please subscribe to the channel so that I can get more wide viewing. All right, thank you.